Hey, good morning, guys, and happy Thursday. We've got a special guest here, Justin Pugh.
Thank you, guys.
He is checking us out from Charleston and looking to.
Start my own company.
Okay, go ahead.
Start
If
my
I
own
can
company.
say it yet,
Yeah.
you never know who's watching. So he's looking to leave corporate America, start his own lawn care business. Been following Mike Andy's, and then he's kind of watched our journey. Coming from Fine Lines to Augusta, and yeah, he's looking to learn about growing the lawn care business and starting there in Charleston, South Carolina. So appreciate you coming out, man, and
Appreciate you for having me, man.
yeah, I appreciate the support on the channel too.
Yeah.
Thanks for breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast.
Pleasure's all mine, guys. Pleasure's all mine.
When guests bring breakfast, that's awesome. So I just wanted, I know we've kind of gone through some changes. We've talked about, you know, the layoffs in the dormant season and things like that, and we are the crew that we have now. You know, the reason that you're here, it's not like, you know, it's not like you're here because we just like you over anyone else that left. You know, it's because day in, day out, consistently, you showed that you took the job seriously, you performed well, and you wanted to be here, and your performance is why y'all are here, right? At least I hope y'all know that. I like y'all, but I don't like you enough to keep you around over anyone else that's doing better than you. So that's why y'all are here. And y'all do know, you know, as far as the mission of where we're going with this, that's never changing. But every year, every quarter, anytime that we have a moment to try to be better, that's what Jeremy and myself, as far as the leaders of this company, are trying to do. So there may be different things that happen. You know, we evaluate what we're currently doing, and we always think about how we can do it better. You know, as far as we learned about the lull in our business, the seasonality of it, to where we will have to lay off probably about 40 to 50% of our team at the end of November. And, you know, we made plans to make sure that we can retain these team members by finding them good seasonal work for that 3-month period. We're using our network with business owners that we know in the area, finding good gigs that's going to pay well, and you know, be a good little change of pace, giving people enough notice to where whenever we do have to make those layoffs, it's not a huge like shock, and people are upset with us, and rightfully so, if you're working and then one day you get laid off without even knowing of the possibility. So we've learned that. That's a big change. We're also, so who we look up to and who we want to emulate day in and day out is Bellingham, Washington, the original Augusta location. And they've, you know, started from scratch, from nothing. You know, Mike Andy's was working out of a caravan with a push mower. And this was, you know, when he was in middle school, and well, he was in college, but we were in middle school at that age. And so, you know, working his way like that. But as soon as he graduated undergrad at 18, he decided to take it seriously and start Augusta Lawn Care, you know, before it was Andy's. And so you can go back and look, it go from zero to, it's gonna be like $1.6, $1.8 million this year. And the way they do that is the systems they have. So us, you know, buying into the franchise, you know, it started as Fine Lines. It didn't start as Augusta. So the systems were different. The vision as far as how we were gonna get to where we're going was different. And we had to change all that. And there's still certain things that are remnants of what was once a much more hierarchical, middle management, much more complex business. You know, now we've got simple services, and as we're growing these locations, how we want to grow as far as our end goal of the next 10 years having 20 locations. I know when I say 10 years, you're like, man, that's a long time. I don't even know what I'm having for lunch today. That's okay, because it's December right now, and January 1, you'll get to see a part of that 10-year plan. You know, we're gonna have a second location, North Augusta. Matthew Owens is gonna be the general manager there. And then every year we're going to keep doing that. So next year is going to be pivotal. Y'all get to see one of your peers, that you've worked with as a team member have their own location and run it. And so I think that's going to be huge. But one of the things that is a change, and it's not bad. It's just like, whenever, sometimes, most of the time, change for growth has its pains. It's not like, oh yeah, we're changing and it's bright and shiny and the weather's great. A lot of times there's a little bit of hurt, a little bit of sting. And I wanted to just highlight a little bit of the change going into next year. We've got these roles and titles. General manager, what the heck does that even mean? What are my job responsibilities? And what does it entail? Well, traditionally when you think of general manager, you don't really think of someone that produces, goes out, like in our mowing grass, for instance. You don't think of a general manager mowing grass. Well, the Bellingham model, me and Jeremy, Jesse, we talked to Liz, we talked to Mike, trying to refine, and they coach us into basically becoming Bellingham because they're very successful, high profit margin, that's what we want. So as we're talking with them, they have concern of the overhead we have. Overhead is any cost that is not, does not produce revenue. So like Jeremy,
shop would be a great example. A shop cannot make us money.
Yeah, having the shop, a shop, some place to go is necessary, but having the shop, we don't have money coming in a month. We just have money going out. Like Jeremy's position as general manager, my position as estimator, that's overhead. I'm not producing anything. Y'all guys are, right? So one of the ways that we're going to be more profitable is to have the least amount of overhead as possible. And the way you can control a lot of that is with your people. What are their roles? So command center, I know y'all have heard about it. You might think it's like a SIPRNet or whatever it is. Heard about it, hadn't seen it, don't know what it's about. They answer our phones, they send our estimates, and they have the ability, when we're going full service next year, answer all of our emails, do our payroll, handle all of our billing, so that there is no need to be in the office. Scheduling, everything.
We just got that email yesterday, and it was more, the way they're saying it, selling it, is that, I'm not gonna have to sit here all day. And so like you guys see on the board, next year, I'm doing 20 hours of mowing with 10 hours of projects, or 30 hours of straight mowing every single week, all year.
Yeah, and he's doing that out of the kindness of his heart. I'm just kidding. He's gonna get paid for performance on that. So just think about yourselves. I don't know if you've thought about, I know that McKee and Matthew and Cody, we've had discussions about wanting to have their own location. And so, thinking about it like that, you kind of think about, okay, well, what is my role gonna be? And I think, going into next year, we will see that because you'll have command center, full center from the start, from the get-go. And Bellingham had this issue as well, because before Mike and Liz and all had the Augusta franchise, they had, Liz in the office manager, they had, Mike was there, they had an estimator and they had an assistant. They didn't have people answering their calls for them, but now they have command center, they are now full service too. And their team's a little bit bigger. The peak season, they have 20 people. So at that point, Marcus is, in the office more. And then the estimator is super busy. But just want to bring that change to you and also highlight like that type of character. Like there's a couple values that, we, that are part of our company is to always, good is never good enough. Always be working on yourself. As far as like your skills, your personal gain, your knowledge, you work on finances and all that. But also be willing to adapt and know this is a growing business and team over self. Just think about it. Think about your general manager. Your duties are mainly office related. You've worked in the field for 4 or 5 years. Other companies, you've worked in landscaping. You get to a general manager job, and it is You know, like, okay, well, I'm the office guy. I'm the office manager. Yeah, I go out in the field sometimes when needed, or I'll help out with projects, or I'll, you know, fix some stuff in the shop, or I'll bring team members equipment, or I'll order all the supplies. I'll talk to the customers. It's an encompassing job, right? But you've finally gotten out of the field, if you know, and that's a huge accomplishment. Now imagine somebody coming to you saying, you know, I think we're gonna get you back out in the field. We're gonna take away all your office responsibilities. That's gonna be handled. We're gonna put you out in the field. Think about how that would make you feel right now in your mindset. And instead, and I was hesitant about it. I was more hesitant than Jeremy. You know, I mean, wanting to put myself out in the field. I was just thinking like, you know, is that the right thing to do? And logically, when you're trying to always be better, when you're trying to, you know, always work on the machine, and, you know, which is the business machine is to increase profit, and you're trying to offer that, you've got to make difficult choices. But Jeremy never once, now at home he might cuss me out, I don't know, but no, I'm just kidding. No, it's genuine. Like, he genuinely wants what's best for this business, and he's like, yeah, down with that. Did not even change his facial expression. He's like, all my office stuff's handled. What else am I gonna do? Am I gonna spin around in a chair? And he's thinking about what's best for the business. And I just wanted to say I appreciate that, man. I know I've told you this morning earlier, but that's huge. That's character. Like that is looking at the values of Augusta and living it. Like, this man doesn't just have these values on the wall, it's in his heart. And that's huge.
Is it team before self?
Team before self, and good is never good enough. You know, always thinking about how can we improve. And that's just huge, man. I really appreciate it.
I get trade-off because I get to use one of those sweet trailerless setups all summer.
That's true. Yeah, one of the perks, general manager, if you're out there producing, you do get to pick what you produce. There's a perk. So, Justin, do you want to ask any questions directly to the team about anything at all?
I do actually.
Okay.
And so one of the questions I had for you, Jeremy, was so when you guys go full service and you're now in the field producing revenue, at what point? Because I know the purpose is for you to be out of the field.
Yeah.
Right. But at what point do you step out and encourage one of these guys, or are you still going to continue to carry out the general manager role in perpetuity until something changes?
Well, I'll stay general manager until we grow North Augusta, Aiken, and Augusta, which the plan for Augusta is to split between the two counties, Richmond and Columbia. And the goal is for me to stay in that spot until we're busting at the seam, and then we'll hire someone to replace me. And we'll probably split Augusta to Columbia and Richmond County. Columbia County is bigger, so we'll put someone over that, and then I'll just go over Richmond County.
Gotcha.
So I'll leapfrog I'll stay in Augusta, but I'll go to the smaller area and try and build it up.
Okay. I had a culture question.
Yeah.
Because when I walked in without anybody, just myself and Brian first, you know, you kind of get a sense for culture before you even walk into the room. And so I kind of feel like this is a great kind of team here. So anybody can answer this question, like, what made you guys successful as a team? Do y'all buy into the culture, right?
Yeah.
And how do you all see your growth within Augusta in general over the next 2 to 3 years? Anybody, Bailey? I feel like I've known you guys. I've watched so many damn videos. So I feel like I've known Bailey and Marquis and all you guys for a while. So I mean, go ahead if you guys have any feedback.
Yeah, if one of y'all wants to take it,
culture.
I don't want to take it from one of y'all.
Keith, you want to take this?
I guess it's me.
Yeah, man.
Do it for the culture.
So for me, the 2 to 3 year plan has definitely been to own and operate a location. I would definitely say, based off the culture, I personally bought in because I believe in the system and I believed in the value of what they have.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely a point of me just buying into it. And you know, at other jobs, you can tell the culture, like you said, as soon as you walk through the door, and it just kind of gives you that feeling of, oh, this is what I'm into.
Yeah.
And when I walked into here, I could tell that, you know, it was much more respectable.
I felt that as well.
You know, so that's what it was for me.
So I don't, not to cut you off. So everybody talks about it being a tough labor market. That's a tough labor market. How did Brian find you? And in your first interaction with Brian and Jeremy, like what sold you on, okay, I gotta work here? What sold you on that?
Okay, well actually, a buddy of mine found this company first, and he had told me about it, but I never really like went for it. He actually kind of pushed me a little bit to go for it, to fill out the application, and he gave me Brian's number. I called Brian, he was super nice, and that was something that I didn't really notice at my last job. The owner wasn't, you know, as nice as Brian was, very respectable, very nice, very courteous. So he asked me about my resume. I sent it to him. He told me come on down whenever I get a chance. I came, I think it was a Friday, right after work. It was raining, still had my work clothes on. Came in, did a little interview with me, and he called me back like I think 2 or 3 days later.
Yep. Okay. All right. P for P. So everybody talks about P for P, and it's, you know, transformational qualities over the business, both good and bad, because we're new business and we're gonna start P for P from day one. How have you guys seen the change from any old culture without P for P versus a new culture with it?
Significant change.
And Matthew, my brother, went from Fine Lines hourly to Augusta P for P, and he, Matt, you can say it for yourself, but he I don't think Matt would want to ever go back hourly, because as a team member, I think Matthew will make the same as what my salary is as a team member this year. So it's I don't think a long maintenance team member for any hourly company would ever break 40, let alone almost 50. So it's I think for all these guys, and Bailey came from hourly too. Yeah.
How'd you like it, Billy? I mean, like, how has the transition from hourly to P for P been for you?
Like literally 100% better.
Yep.
It pushes you to work harder.
Literally 100%.
Okay, to that point though, is that something that you guys take? I mean, it's a dumb question, but do you take pride in that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. One last question about customer experience. So when you guys are out and you're doing P for P, or you're doing your work and you're being ultra efficient, like how do you explain to a customer, like I've been reading a lot of reviews on Google, and some customers are saying, hey, why am I paying this guy to be on my lawn for 12 minutes? And I paid him for 30 or whatever the case might be. How do you adjust to those types of customer experience scenarios?
Yeah, so we don't get a whole lot of that. It's happened. We just don't talk about, those are outliers. As far as customer experiences, customers calling and talking about the time, we had more of that because with Fine Lines, we actually, when we sent an estimate, it said the per visit time to the customer. Now with Augusta, they just see the cost per service, which definitely don't ever just give your estimated visit time to the customer, because then you'll have instances where they will hold you to that.
Which that actually just helped me out. We always struggled with what to tell them about time. You guys just need to say, I'm here for this service. I'm here for this service. That actually just kind of hit me. So whenever they mention time, you guys avoid that and say, I'm here to perform this service.
Gotcha.
And then we'll avoid the whole time thing. You guys just block it out of your memory. I'm here for your service. I'm not here for X amount of time.
Yeah. And then there's going to be somebody that's going to press you for it. And those, like I said, those are not even 1%. But in those times, those are usually just not your type of customer.
Yep.
If they have a problem with it, if pressed, I'll tell them like, yeah, we got 30 minutes for one person. It's $40.
We've even had people go back and do the math and say, oh, you're charging me $80 an hour?
Right.
How do you have a business? Because I guarantee you any other service provider that pays taxes, has a brand, or it's going to charge you at least $60 an hour. So Augusta premium brand being $20 more, you get what you pay for.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anybody want to go to Charleston? I'm just kidding. Anybody have any questions or anything?
Yeah, I had a question. As far as command center, and we were talking about overhead. I'm still a little like confused, just a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as how, I don't want it to sound stupid, but how is Jeremy getting in the field? I mean, how is that gonna? I mean, I know it's gonna offset the overhead by him kind of like
Making
paying
money.
for himself almost.
Yeah.
But how does that like?
Talking about the increase of what we're going to be paying for command, or just the overall effect?
The overall, both actually.
So
Okay.
they'll do y'all's payroll, emails, phone calls, scheduling, everything that I sit in the office for, right? They'll do. So then what am I gonna do, right? Like, we don't have that many breakdowns for me to just sit here waiting on y'all to break down or bring you stuff. And if I do 30 budgeted hours a week, that's $2,000 a week I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
Times 4, I just made us $8,000 a month for 9 months. That's $70,000 that I produced for the company. So that's one way to offset it. Me make hopefully $65,000-$75,000 over the summer.
Right.
And then because we're paying for that service, there's no need for me to be here. And also, you guys just saw all the layoffs. We're gonna have to bring new people in here. What are we gonna have to do with those new people? Train them. So what can I also do? Train new guys.
Right.
So instead of Matthew, McKeith, Bailey, being Cody, Chris, Jesse, everyone being burdened with training new guys, I can help as well. So whereas instead of me making you, us having you train someone on a sod job, maybe you're a little bit different because you do a lot of projects, but instead of Bailey carrying someone around all day, training them, Bailey can get his 6 to 10 budgeted hours done, and I can train somebody that day.
But let me make sure answering your question, because I think you're also probably thinking like you already got your salary, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting paid for performance, how is it offsetting that overhead?
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Yeah.
And that's a good question, because mathematically, I think
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it just
you're right.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and like I said, this is new information. We just got it last night. We like to be transparent and share.
Absolutely.
I also, thinking about like, okay, well, Jeremy is the general manager. He's got the salary already. Putting those extra roles on him without giving some form of pay for performance, I don't see as fair.
Right. For sure. I think that's it.
So, but yeah, to get to, I think the heart of your question was, okay, you already got the salary, but also you're getting P for P. How is that offsetting overhead? And mathematically, it's not.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be.
So it's like, and also it's like, is these budgeted hours that he's gonna be allotted, is that kind of like cutting into the rest of the team, or are we
No.
pushing more?
It would be, as far as like what it's going to do, is I would say would be taking the excess, but no, it's not going to cut into y'all's hours. I'm not going to take hours away from y'all
Okay.
at all.
Because the goal is to make sure you guys aren't running ragged, especially during spring and summer, like we
Right.
did this past year, working 60 plus hours.
And
a
I'd
week.
say training too, because we've had people who come in here who cannot understand P for P, and that's it's kind of sad, but they couldn't wrap their head around it. We've had people that don't like the culture, people that don't want to be held accountable, people that want to sit 20 minutes between yards and be hourly. So there's going to be plenty of people that join the team but don't make the team, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
also training will be a big part of it too.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think we'll get more more information with that. They may have, Bellingham, Mike, and them. They may have meant for Jeremy not to get paid for performance dollars, but like I said, I don't think it's
Fair to have
I don't
more
think that would be
for-
fair.
I honestly would be willing to take half of my budgeted hours if that's what it would require for us to not spend any more money or whatever it takes. And also, if it was none, I would also be okay with that, because I'm only going to be out there 5 or 6 hours a day.
Yeah, and we'll ask, and honestly, McKee, thank you for bringing that up, because that's it's a great question, and it's
Good question.
And I think it's all of y'all have worked other places before here. All y'all have been in relationships with people that are that have authority or before this. This is something that's completely different because when I can say it, but if y'all don't believe that I mean it or know what that means, like always be improving. Always come to me with any questions, and you can come with any sort of criticism and ask hard questions. That's how things get done, is by asking hard questions like that. I mean that. There's nothing that you can't bring to me or Jeremy or any of your team members with respect. Because the biggest thing as far as communication with anybody is having difficult conversations, and the only reason difficult conversations are difficult is because the emotions before the conversation. Right. Because typically, conversation wouldn't be difficult if there wasn't any emotion, right? Yeah. So the difficulty in having, and those are the conversations that you have to have, whether it be with your spouse, your brother, your teammate, whatever it is. Those things that evoke emotion are things that are going to either hold you back, or you're going to talk about it and get past it. And I think that's where a lot of people, like everybody in this world's had trauma, and a lot of times trauma can get associated with either you expressing yourself through anger when you're upset or you don't understand something, or just shutting down, and that impedes the conversation at all times. But I really appreciate that, McKee.
And I'll throw something out there. I think all you guys will like it. Why don't we move to one meeting a week next year? Make it'll be longer because it's only one, but I think moving to one would be plenty fine.
Maybe towards the end of the week.
Yeah. Well, it would stay on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all rather have one meeting?
Yeah.
I'm cool with twice a week.
Yeah. I think, I think when it's summer and we're moving faster, it'd be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Well, if we can keep the meetings to 15 minutes instead of.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. We usually go over, so why don't we just do one long one and get it? Yeah.
Okay.
And I was saying one more question.
Yeah.
At 6:30, may have up to an hour.
Command Center.
Yeah.
How much do we pay Command Center now versus how much we would be paying if we went forward with
Full service?
Yeah. You hear me?
We'll have to, I think, it ranges from $2,000 a month, upwards of $5,000 a month in the peak season.
I think we have to just compare. Like we'll have to go through it and then just compare.
So
Because it's based on volume.
Okay.
What comes at them is what they bill for. So what we can do is compare May of this year to May of last year, and then we can.
So they got pricing per minute on the phone. They've got, that's customers calling or anything like that. They've got pricing per email, pricing per estimate sent, and things like that. So it's all itemized. Yes, sir.
I do have one question about open book management, because I know, Mark, you asked a lot of great questions, man, and great feedback. But open book management is different. Even telling my business partner about it, he was like, "What do you mean, open book management?" And showing people our numbers and whatnot. So from you guys, was that a culture shock? Wow, we're getting to see all the numbers. And then from that perspective, when you do see the numbers, what changed in your worldview that continues to solidify the culture that's here? If I ask the question right, do you like open book management? Why? And what has it done in your worldview about business?
It gives you an insight for the business itself. Because
Yep.
we're all a unit, and we know, hey, as a unit, we're in debt. And once we're out this debt, we could do other things. Then everybody's gonna work to get out this debt, so that we can all make better money or whatever the case may be.
And I'll say this: when I started at Fine Lines 4 years ago, Brian was telling us how he's losing money, this and that. But then you go to his house, nice neighborhood. Not the best, nice neighborhood. Nice neighborhood. Nice dogs, actually, very nice dogs. You see he owns the trucks and trailers. He's got multiple trucks. He's telling you he's losing a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
But did I believe that at first?
Got it.
No, I didn't necessarily believe that at first. So they can, if you don't know the numbers, your employees are gonna speculate. Because they have no idea if you really believe what he's saying or if he's really making or losing money. So for me, going from employee to manager is huge to tell them. Transparency is huge, And if you don't tell them the information, they're gonna come up with their own idea of what's really going on with the numbers.
Right.
And an idea could be a virus. It's
Yeah.
like the one idea feed another idea, and you'll just be digging a hole
Yeah.
mentally.
Right.
Honestly.
Little things like, you know, ice purchases or gas purchases, when it's just you on your truck,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily feel that as much as an entire team, but when you see everybody kind of stacked up, it helps to, you know, like what Jeremy was talking about, see where the money goes and stuff like that.
Are you guys super competitive from a scorecard perspective? Are you guys competing against one another on budgeted hours, competing against one another on certain aspects of the business?
In a friendly way.
In a friendly way, yeah.
Because we have a group message, and
Yeah.
everybody send their pictures in for their lines and stuff like
Okay.
that. So.
All right, cool.
I think that's a cool idea, having a monthly performance review, who did what. You know, I think that's really, who got the most reviews, who did the most budgeted hours.
Bringing
Yeah.
the most debris.
Yeah.
Running the most revenue.
Yeah, earned the most revenue, yeah.
Okay. Love it.
Awesome, guys. Well, I really appreciate y'all, extended meeting, being welcoming of our guests, and I won't take up any more of y'all's time. But if anybody does have anything they want to say before they leave, let me know. If not, let's get out there and get to producing, making that money.
Well, I want to show these guys that weren't here the
I see
new
a
shop.